Me like FNAF, and that's a pretty common sentiment from people like me, who let the FNAF brain rot consume them early back in 2014. And much like most other FNAF fans, I haven't actually played much of the series. I mean, like, there are times I try to get around to it, but then I just don't feel like it. Definitely because I'm not, like, a big baby or anything. But whenever I do get the urge to play a FNAF game, I usually go fulfill that craving elsewhere, mainly with the fan games. FNAF has built a humble collection of fan games over the years, nothing crazy or anything, but you will find some very well-made games amidst the small collection that rivals or even surpasses the official games. Fredbear and Friends, Left to Rot, was released in 2018 by Garrett McKay, who's most known for this, and the more recent A Bite at Freddy's. Left to Rot has garnered a respectable amount of clout and following over the years, which definitely didn't influence me in any way to make this video, no sir. And to prove how no ulterior motives were behind my decision making when doing this video, I'm just gonna jump right into things here. No more preamble, no more build up, I'm just getting into it here because I'm so excited. In fact, I'm so eager to do this genuinely that I'm gonna forget to edit this audio properly in post. When you open up the game for the first time, you're met with the titular Fredbear. Not rotting, unfortunately. We're not quite at that point yet. But his mouth is sealed up and out of order. I don't know why just his mouth, though. I'm trying to come up with a solid reason for why just his mouth isn't working, but nothing's really jumping out to me at the moment. In any case, we're currently rebranding Fredbear's Family Diner as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and that starts with recycling the parts of Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, and not a moment too soon. Fredbear's mouth may be the only part out of order, but his eyes were askew and it was seriously bothering me. Thankfully, we get to fix that. As this cutscene is interactive, we strip down the animatronics piece by piece and turn them into their modern equivalents. Fredbear into Freddy Fazbear, and Spring Bonnie into... Bonnie with no spring. Whoa! Not Chica, though. Chica doesn't get any of that. She just... appears. But with that, phase 1 of the rebranding is now complete, taking us to the title screen. I like it. The music is decently ambient enough, and I like how the background changes as we go through the story. Starting a new game has us in the back of a car, as someone discusses a course of action with us. A pretty simple one too, if you can parse it over the fucking crazy levels of bass that assault your ears the second this guy starts talking. Like, holy crap, bro, you're bursting my eardrums here. How the fuck are you doing that with your voice? The gist of the plan is that we're going in pretending to work for them as security, so we can sneak in. I know why we have to, but the game doesn't tell you, so I am gatekeeping this knowledge from you also. But our contact does tell us to shut off the security system once we're in position, leading us to the first room of the game. The first room has us in a cramped little office, with a real simple objective: disconnect the audio and video on all 5 of the cameras. It takes about 5 seconds to do each. The only other thing you can really do is shine a light down the hallway to your right, and hide under the desk if Fredbear or Spring Bonnie's there. Apparently they're there with us as security, but I thought that's what we were here for. In fact, while we're at it, we did apply for the night guard job. It may be under false pretenses, but we still did get employed, but we didn't get a call from the company. Like, I know why from a game perspective, but still, what about in-universe? Maybe the gameplay starts after we get the call? Still, from our perspective, it looks like they're just keeping us in the dark about the animatronics that want to kill us. Rant aside, this is very simple. Fredbear and Spring Bonnie leave very quickly after hiding. They come one after the other, and they're passive enough that you don't have to deal with them more than once. So all that being said, I still managed to fuck it up somehow. Apart from the Springlock duo, there is a third threat. A prototype endoskeleton that has the distinction of being the most geeked animatronic I've ever seen in my life. It shows up on cam 3 every 30 to 60 seconds. Shining the light on camera 3 is enough to get it to go away. The problem is, you kinda need the camera video feed on to see it. Not like that stopped my dumbass from turning the camera off without thinking, even with the tutorial staring at me right in the goddamn face. you can imagine how that went. Lack of reading comprehension aside, this is very easy to do, and will take you about a minute to complete. Honestly, it feels a bit like filler. Only one of the cameras matters at all, and it's a very simple game. It would honestly feel better as a post-night minigame. And even Freddy agrees with me. Okay, well, he actually doesn't. But he does want us to test his functions to see how alive he looks for his stage performance. Functions aside, you really could stand the moisturize. Given how leathery his skin is, you could probably file your nails on it. But looks aside, the animations are very funny. Him tweaking out is one thing, but his laugh is not doing him any favors. None of his preset commands are TBH. In fact, while we're here, what the fuck is this remote? Like, actually, what am I looking at? No wonder Fredbear's had to rebrand. This remote is the most egregious thing to ever come out of this company. Freddy, what do you have to say for yourself? Ew. Well, the bass comes back to assault our ears. With Fredbear and the others deactivated, we gotta head to storage to find pictures taken. That's the best I could parse. Again, the bass does not help at all with that. We don't even pick up anything of the sort, just random equipment that serves us no purpose. In any case, our contact leaves us to power the side door to get out of storage, leading us to room 2. Storage. It's storage. The storage section is even simpler than the first room. All you have to do is power the side door up to progress. The charge on the door drains fast, but charges equally so. The only roadblock you have to deal with is Max. He's this weird puppet-looking animatronic and a little show stage right in front of you. All you have to do is press the curtain button to close them when Max decides to peek out to get him off your back. I struggled with this at first. I didn't know Max's kill timer, so I was constantly flipping back and forth between Max and the door, not making any progress at all. I was going at a slower pace than that kidney stone I had to push out, but I experimented a bit and figured it takes about 20 seconds for him to jump your ass, which is more than enough time to make good headway on the door charge. I probably could have been more aggressive with charging than I was, but I gave Max too much credit, which is insane because he has no sauce to speak of at all. Look at him, bootleg puppet-looking ass. Max has the least swag of all the animatronics in this game. I don't know why I ever took him seriously. Storage is the lamest room in the game. It's the most simple and can once again be completed in under a minute. The only illusion of challenge comes from the mental barrier of not knowing Max's kill timer, and that's it. After that, it's just monotony. But I guess there is a silver lining. The weakest room in the game is used on the lamest animatronic. So at least we have the mid being properly segregated from everything else, which is how it should be, I think. The next cutscene has us testing some arcade games to see if they're working. The first one is Golden Comet, and to say I sucked ass would be a... You know what, just take a look at the footage for yourself. Sneaky Guy, on the other hand, I'm fucking great at. I was geeked before, but now I'm locked in, as I get part of the secret code needed for the good ending. Oh yeah, spoilers I guess, but it's a FNAF fan game with mini-games. This is pretty par for the course. After that cutscene, we're sent to testing room 01, with no distractions or cutscenes in between. And spoilers? It's mouse time. We get put in this bootleg FNAF 4 style room before our contact tries to tell us how to get out, before being cut off. You can tell me it's because of a signal interference, but I'm not buying it. He probably just cranked his bass really high by accident. In any case, we're left to open up the vent in order to get out. Hey, wait a minute! This is just room 2 again. Just great. There better be something to make this better. Mouse. We gotta crack this vent door if we want to get out. This time, though, we gotta deal with 2 threats. Mouse at the door, and Mouse on the string. I forgot the name of Mouse on a string, so that's what I'm calling him. Just wind the toy up and he won't be a problem. Mouse at the door, or just Mousky, is equally simple. You just got to incinerate his retinas with the hyper flash, which gets him to back off. And may I say, it is very polite of him to close the door for us. Politeness aside, that's all this knight has going for it. It's a more involved version of the room just before it, but even so, it's still very simple. You wind the toy, flash mouse key, and pry the vent open bit by bit. Like I said earlier, this is just room 2, but more. And sure, I like it more, but it goes on for far too long for how little substance there actually is. Neither of the animatronics are aggressive enough to pose any real threat, so you just mindlessly do this for a few minutes until you get the vent open. This is probably going to be the 3rd time I say this, but this would be better as a post-night minigame with its length cut. You know, thinking about it, the first half of this game is pure filler. Sure, it can all be completed in like 5 to 10 minutes, so it's not like a massive waste of time, but it is a shame that 3 out of the 5 rooms in this game are total nothing burgers. It's not all bad though. Mousekey is a lot cooler than Max's lame ass, but like, who the hell is Mousekey? I'm sorry, Nightmare Mousekey. What the hell are Max and Mousekey doing at Fredbear's? It kind of reminds me of the Jolly games, where you would have these random characters in the same establishment as the core Fazbear cast, only this time they're 100% less Filipino. Apparently, Mousekey comes from one of Garrett's older games, Fredbear's Fright. And yeah, that's him alright. I have no idea how he became Nightmare Mousekey, but perhaps that's better left unsaid. This also once again proves how little swag Max has, because his ass is nowhere to be found in the promotional content for this game, which validates how I feel about this character. But I do like Mousekey. Very nice of him to check up on us in what could ostensibly be considered a home. Me and Mousekey have that in common. The only difference is when I do it, I get shot at. After dislocating our shoulders to get through this thin-ass vent, I mean seriously, look at this thing, we find ourselves facing the exit, only to get interrupted by a jump scare. Now this is a decently common trope in FNAF fan games, but this is probably the most disrespectful one, because you can tell this guy just watched a Joy of Creation playthrough right before doing this because he just punches us in the gut after Ignited Bonnie made it cool to do that. And after that, we switch to the perspective of some guy who has to climb into a spring lock suit. It is cool that they integrate the phone guy tapes from FNAF 3, and I love the detail that you can just stare at the suit while listening to the tape, just knowing that you have to put yourself in there and knowing what's to come. This is definitely my favorite cutscene for that detail alone. But yeah, we do climb into the thing, and the effect is certainly scuffed, and doubly so for when the suit gives out. But that's this guy's problem, not ours, because we finally have some substantial gameplay to talk about for once. Finally. I love the aesthetic of this segment. It's like a mix between FNAF 2 and 3, minus the insane amounts of green that 3 had. The animatronics fit in, looking all disgusting and rotten, and the gas mask ties it all together. The heavy breathing being the only real audio you hear in this quiet place is really creepy. But wait a minute. Rotten, corrupted animatronics? A run-down, moldy office? Guys, is this a Dormitibus
This is how a 15-year-old knows about the kid's friends group.
Like I said earlier, this is the first room in this game to actually have some more meat on its bones when it comes to actual gameplay, so let's get into that. We got a typical FNAF setup here: hallway, cameras, vents, lights, turning around to deal with a threat, surviving for a set amount of time, standard package really. Still though, I think what we have here works, and it's fun for the short time we have it. We got 4 threats to deal with here: the rotten animatronics. And yep, that's an accurate descriptor. One could definitely tell by looking at them that they were left to decay. They're all real simple to deal with individually. Freddy shows up in the hallway, looking real goofy, and he'll chill there until he decides to come in through the left vent. Chica's very similar, only instead she comes in through the right vent, and instead of being in the hallway, you'll find her on camera too. Both make a noise when entering the vents, so it's not really necessary to check. Deactivating the ventilation will get them to leave, More on that later. Bonnie comes in from the back. It's not really worth looking at him on the camera. He's got 2 stages behind you. Once his smelly ass is over the counter, activate the fan so you can throw his stink particles back in his face and get him to leave. And then Foxy will show up in the hallway. When he does, you just gotta hit the breaker and turn the power off. There's a cooldown for turning the thing back on, which is always enough time for Foxy to leave, thankfully. And finally, we have the toxic meter, tying everything together, a clear reference to the sleeper hit FNAF fan game, The Return to Freddy's. The meter slowly rises as you sit in the office and just take in all that swamp ass. Don't take too much in though, as having the meter rise to 100% will kill you, and kill you it will, as it will most likely be the most common cause of your deaths. You know, excluding that yellow bit. I mentioned earlier that deactivating the vents is how you repel Freddy and Chica, but it also causes the toxic meter to rise up way faster. Funny story. I didn't know that. Even funnier story, I actually thought the fan was what caused it to rise, because I would just turn it on for fun or to deal with Bonnie after deactivating the vents, and well, you know, the toxic meter went up, and I died. So that's clearly flawless logic right there. But on the rare event that an animatronic does kill you, you'll notice how jank the jump scares are. I mean, like, FNAF games aren't known for their great jump scares, especially the Click Team games, but these are still really janky looking. But yeah, this was a fun room. I have much more to say about it, but it can wait. We will be returning to this room after all, so I'll save my more in-depth thoughts for there. But what's here so far is a really nice time. This could have been the basis for the game all on its own. Add some more rooms, mechanics, animatronics, and boom, you got a full game here. Everything else so far could have been secondary to this, but no such luck. Oh well. Alright, next tape.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now.
What the fuck? We got a tape instructing us on how to clean out the Fredbear suit, most probably after the guy from the last cutscene got pureed. Turns out all we need to do is clean out the corpse smell from the suit, and it's nice to know that Fredbear's being clean for the both of us. You know, this reminds me of the time I was doing yard work for a realtor recently, and I found a rotting armadillo just lying on the lawn. I have no idea how it got there, and that was the first time I ever saw an armadillo in real life, so that was kinda disheartening. I don't know, I just felt like sharing that. The tape ends with saying that they will cover how to exit a springlock suit safely on the next one, which really makes you think. But all that's left for us is the final test before clearing the base game, which is very refreshing considering last time. Although that isn't to say this room didn't give me shit, because it sure as hell did. So let's get into that. You know, every other room had gameplay showing us traveling through the building, or some justification for us going from room to room, but not this one. We just, appear this time. But hey, I like this office. The aesthetic is giving me mega Bendy and the Ink Machine vibes. Our objective is probably the most involved, and definitely the most annoying, but let's take it from the top. The first thing you see when opening the cameras is that ugly suit from before, with your objective laid out before you on the tooltips. Lure the suit to the top of the map, which I just realized was an upside down version of the FNAF 1 map. That was probably meant to be more obvious, but I just realized it, teehee. In order to complete the night, we have to find the suit on the camera. In order to do that, we have to use the locate button on the cameras to find him, and then the return button to send him closer to the FNAF office, which gives the faintest shred of plot relevance to the storage area, because the tools needed to perform these actions were just miraculously there. Fancy that. Trick is, you gotta press it when the pupils aren't glowing. If you press the button when they are, then that shit doesn't work, and you're stuck waiting on that cooldown before you can pop it again. If you suck so bad at keeping him away, he'll make his way towards your office and just, lean over at you before leaving. I'm assuming this is when he rocks your shit, but I wouldn't know because my computer crashed on me. The night has a simple premise, but you have your work cut out for you. Besides dealing with the suit and, computer crashes, you got 3 threats to deal with as you do this. The security animatronics, versions of Freddy, Bonnie, and Fredbear. They'll come in and be general nuisances as you're trying to herd the suit. We got Paper. He's called that because you drag a piece of paper on his face whenever he shows up at the window. We got Nipple. He's called that because you stimulate him with these electric cables to get him to leave. And lastly, and also leastly, we got Tweaker. He's called that because he spazzes the fuck out on the cameras and will make them inoperable for some time unless you reboot them, making your life a living hell. Ahem. Half of the challenge of the night is just dealing with these goobers while trying to wrangle that ugly-ass suit to where you need it to go, and it's really annoying. This has the potential to take forever if you're not tapped in. Suit is dead set on beelining towards your office, so you gotta repel this bastard back, right? Well, I'm trying, but this guy really doesn't like turning his eyes off sometimes. The help menu says that his eyes turn off 1 to 2 times during his stay on a camera, but even so, the timing is pretty damn tight sometimes, especially as he gets closer to the top of the map, and these security bozos like to show up at the most inconvenient of times, especially Tweaker. I hate that guy, and definitely not because I'm bitter that I didn't know how his mechanic worked, causing me to throw perfectly good attempts. Still his fault though. He should have waited for me to know how to counter him. Nipple is only slightly less annoying. He may be less debilitating to the cameras, but he keeps showing up all the time. He's like a fucking roach. At least he's satisfying the shock, and I do like his funny eyebrows. Reminds me of my goat. And then we got Paper. He is actually very well behaved. Thank you, buddy. He shows up the least, and even then sometimes he just, chills out, I guess? I don't know, man. I'm not complaining. Other than that, I hate that the return button has a cooldown. Even if you successfully bait him, it has the really funny habit of recharging right when that suit turns his eyes on or leaves the camera. It is really, really funny. You know, at my expense, but still it's funny. So yeah, this is really annoying. Probably the worst part of the game. Bummer note, but it really gets on your nerves. Oh well. Once you get the suit to the opposite side of the room, the lights go out, and he just shows up in front of you. Like, what the fuck? What was the point of all that? No, seriously, actually, why were we doing this? I'm quite miffed, in fact, and so is the suit, as he looks ready to jump my ass. This panel pops up with a warning, but, it doesn't work, guys. So the suit rips me a new one. And we cut to camera feed of the FNAF 1 location, presumably in the future, as we have Golden Freddy spazzing out on us, and staring at me like it was my fault! Don't look at me! Maybe you shouldn't have died! Well, this leads to the tragic ending, and I have no idea what this means. Fredbear and Spring Bonnie are with the Core 4, but they were repurposed into Freddy and Bonnie. And also the suit is here. Like, bro really thinks he's on the team. But with that, the base game is done, and we unlock the extras menu. It's about what you've come to expect from a FNAF fan game. Character renders, mini-games, behind the scenes, you know, the usual. No jump scares though. Odd, considering how much of a staple they are in FNAF extras menus. There's also the insane mode, but hold, young grasshopper, hold. Be patient. We must walk before we can run. Overall, this is a good extras menu. My only complaint is that they got Paper, Nipple, and Tweaker's names wrong. Come on, Garrett. Get your shit together. Now, I know what you may be thinking. How do we stop the suit from curb stomping our shit in, like in the tragic ending? Well, I mean, I already told you about the good ending code in Sneaky Guy. Now we just have to get the other half of the code from Golden Comet. But then that means I have to now get good at the game. It took me a hot minute. The hard part of the game was not realizing I was in a building and thus couldn't jump or shoot. Plus it was hard to collect my thoughts with the grating as fuck music. Jesus Christ, this is gonna go triple rubber. But it still didn't stop me from getting cracked at the game. And we're given our number, 1975. Combine that with the 35 of Sneaky Guy, and our final number is 1975-35. Not sure that I know its significance, but I do know that 35 is the amount of years the final test took off my life. But what do we use these numbers for? Well, we use it as a code to open up a safe. Where is this safe? In between the first two rooms, meaning we have to replay the first room and watch the Freddy cutscene in order to access it. That's a needless bit of filler. Doubly so considering the arcade sections where you get these codes is after you can access this safe. Not cool, Garrett. Anyways, in order to get to this safe, you just have to turn left where you're at the point where your contact is bursting our eardrums with the bass. Honestly, I was starting to miss it. Anyways, we open the safe and get a funny button that looks like it could fit in the console on the final test. That means we have to play it again. I'm hella mad, bro. I had a really bad attempt that took me 12 minutes to do, and I fumbled. Yeah, the button's there, but my dumbass had to press it. And it's a bit hard to do when thy mouse is invisible. Garrett! At least next time I locked the fuck in, and did it in like 2 minutes. This time getting his ass, and he tweaks the hell out, which is very satisfying. But still, we do hear breathing from inside the suit. In any case, we get our final tape, talking about boxing up Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, saying they'll never see the light of day again. Like, damn bro, chill the fuck out. I thought they were getting recycled into Freddy and Bonnie. Shit is not that serious, dude. But we get the real ending, and our second star on the menu. So what's next, you might be asking? But hold on, bro. Chill. Let's soak in our victory here. After all, having to go through all that did drive me a bit insane. Hey, wait a minute. Nice to be back in the rotting office, although I have to ask why we're back here, and how for that matter. I'm still not quite sure how this connects to the rest of the joint, but what I am sure of is that this will be fun. Insane Mode is a much harder version of Test Room 02, and it really forces you to get familiar with the mechanics of the game to succeed, and I most certainly did. I'm about to give you the elite ball knowledge I was withholding from you the last time we were here. Like last time, the ventilation is going to be your biggest issue. It doesn't climb any higher or anything, but it is harder to manage with the increased aggression of the animatronics. This was also when I finally realized that deactivating the vents made it worse, like no shit, genius. The mask is going to be your best friend here, and it's not like a FNAF 2 mask where you can't do anything with it on. This mask gives you a great deal of control. You can do everything you can normally, minus checking the cameras, which is totally fine, because you can work it into dealing with Foxy and Bonnie. It's really satisfying to see how many threats you can juggle at once, all while keeping the mask on, seeing them vaguely through the tinted goggles, and still knowing that you're making progress against them. Then again, it still did take me a while, and not even just from choking on all the toxic fumes. The animatronics do not make it easy for you, especially Chica. Like, calm the fuck down, girl, Jesus Christ. Chica was, and still is, the most aggressive animatronic you will be dealing with here, and it's why Cam 6 is the only one that matters, as that's the one Chica likes to go down, and she's never visible at any point in the office, unlike the others. I mean, sure, you can look on Cam 2 for her, but that's not really necessary. She will be the one coming to ruin your day and hamper your toxic meter. If I had even more elite ball knowledge, I would tell you how to sync up Freddy and Chica so that you could deal with them at the same time, because they will be repelled at any point if they enter the vent on the initial shutdown, even if it's the last frame, but no such luck, I'm not that elite. But as for Freddy, he's probably the same level of aggression as Chica, but his attack phase starting in the office where I can see him probably gives the illusion that he's much less aggressive. Or that actually is the truth and he just likes standing there all silly-like. Although if the vent deactivation is the only thing that stops him, I do have to ask why he doesn't just jump me in the office as is. I guess he's just really polite. But not as polite as my boy Bonnie. One of the key tactics to beating this night, and any FNAF Max mode for that matter, is knowing the proper order in which to deal with multiple threats at once, and Bonnie will always be courteous enough to either go first, or be the last one to deal with, making him cause minimal fuss. How nice of him. As for Foxy, honestly, he's not that much more aggressive. I think I only ever died to him once, and that wasn't even during Insane mode. But he's very easy to deal with, and the time the lights are off is a good excuse to slip on the mask and lower your meter a bit. I think this is the most enjoyable part of the game. It felt tough, but fair. Each new strategy, or basic piece of common sense I learned, was a breakthrough in improving my gameplay, all while learning to be as efficient as possible in juggling multiple things at once. This was super satisfying to beat. And doubly satisfying, since our friend here finally got his base problem fixed. About damn time, too. We're in front of a deactivated mouse key, and our contact here is talking about potentially trying to communicate with him. I don't see why we'd want to. He'd probably just bitch to us about us flashbanging him a whole bunch. And more importantly, why is he deactivated? Actually, no. More importantly is the name drop of a Mr. Afton here. Oh, I definitely didn't see this coming after being jumped by a breathing suit. Fun fact, he actually shows up before jumping us in the lead up to night 4. If you somehow suck enough to die to Max, you can see the suit peeking over his little stage. Sure, it's only for a few frames, but he is there, which does have the added bonus of making Max a little less lame. But anyways, it seems like our friend here is gonna send the long dick of the law on old Willie here, or at least that's what I'm assuming here when he means by team. I guess that means this isn't canon to the Night 5 ending, since I think Afton was in the suit when we activated it. But whatever, man. We have a note here on some experiments on the animatronic, but I willingly choose to ignore it. Because we're almost done here. It's time for the Custom Night. Custom Night once again shakes up the formula. It seems like our investigator Fred made good on his promise to send the boys in, cause now we're playing as Afton, prepping for our escape as we cut off all transmissions and entrances to the building. Given that we're in the FNAF 1 office, that means we're on the opposite side of the Night 5 office, which is a neat inversion and adds some spatial continuity to proceedings. Among more relevant observations, the night doesn't have a set time. Rather, it's like Pizzeria Simulator, as we have tasks to complete by pressing down on them on the monitor. First, it starts with turning off 5 transmissions, and then securing 5 doors, the ones between all the rooms we've had to go through. Once you're done, you can escape, freeing yourself from any retribution you would have faced. I mean, what the hell do your victims have to be so mad about? Like, boo-hoo, you died. No need to make it your whole personality, like, damn. Anyways, that's the basic gist of things, and you can just jump into whatever custom scenarios you feel like. But I'm gonna go through all the challenges. Yes, including the max mode. Oh boy. Unaware is incredibly simple, a taste of what's to come. It's so simple I actually don't have much to say about it, and what little I do have is just because my dumbass died to one of the 2 animatronics, that being the suit that we were in. So either this definitely isn't canon to Night 5, or we just chose to leave it. I mean, I guess it probably gets really sweaty in there, but like I got blindsided by the thing because I forgot his mechanic. You have to swap to the correct camera on monitor 3 and then press the advance button in order to get him to leave, which is mildly annoying that I have to put in that extra smidge of effort when I don't have to for the others. But whatever, he's easy to deal with. And the prototype is here also. You just gotta hold the flashlight down the left hallway. Not much else to say really, but like, want to have what it's having.
My pot! Your pot? And then in chapter 28 of my novel, the other pilots finally trust the Japanese pilot and let him into, their group.
The experiments features everyone else. A bit skewed, I think, but it will get you familiar with all the monitors sitting on the desk. An interesting distinction is that the animatronics have been renamed, obviously to the souls inhabiting them, but I don't give a fuck. I'm dead naming these guys. Plus, I refuse to believe Paper, Nipple, and Tweaker could let themselves be possessed, so fuck that. But new animatronics means new mechanics, so what are we waiting for? Like Prototype, Mousky comes in through the right hallway, and we gotta use the hyper flash like last time to get him to leave. I feel bad for the guy, but he's the most aggressive out of all of them, and that's not gonna change anytime soon. So you know what? He deserves it. Roger is also back, like on night 3. His little wind-up toy's on the office, and now you gotta wind it up for 3 seconds or so at a time to pacify him. You see him down the right hallway when he's ready to strike, but it's honestly better to just wind up the toy when there's downtime. If you're wondering why I'm calling Roger by his new name, well, turns out I was wrong. He actually didn't have a name before. Seriously, he's not given one. Apparently he's just called Guy, according to the esteemed Left to Rot wiki. Couple that with the fact he doesn't even get his own render, I think I'll throw him a bone. I can't even call him Mouse on a String for fun because the string is gone. Can't have shit in Fredbear and Friends. Now as for the Goober Brigade, they all show up on the monitors. Paper shows up on monitor 1. In any one of the 4 cameras, he will slowly phase into existence, I guess. When he does that, you gotta click on it to cut the feed. You gotta be quick though. This isn't the little docile Paper like on night 5. He's deceptively aggressive here, and was one of the more common causes of death, which really broke my heart, considering he's like a son to me. But, oh well. Nipple shows up on monitor 2. Identically to night 5, you gotta shock him when he leans past the wall. Not much else to say about him currently, but due to his aggression, he will be integral later. Lastly, Tweaker is also identical to night 5. He'll show up on any of the 3 monitors and cover the feed. Refreshing it will make him leave. Now that's one thing, but what makes him real annoying is that he won't pause the activity of the animatronics he's blocking. So I've had many a death that stems from Tweaker blocking my view of Paper so he can shank me to death. Really makes me hate him. If he was my son, I would disown him. But as for right now, the AI levels are a little too low for that to matter. And other than vomiting out mechanics, I don't have much else to say really. But we have gotten a feel for everyone. Time to see how we do against all of them at once. Okay, like, I know I said all that, but like... There's really no need to cover this. To no one's surprise, facing against all 7 threats at once is a challenge. But it's only an appetizer for the finale, and I have plenty to say on that. So let's just skip this and head to the main course, as the animatronics try to have their ultimate revenge.
He said it! He said it!
As expected, this is the hardest challenge the game can throw at you, and it certainly is daunting at first. Granted, I'm not some mega sweat who scours the max mode lists for incredibly hard nights to beat, with names like Inverted Nightmare Testicle Twister, or anything like that. The only other max mode I've ever beaten was 720 mode on 5 Nights at Candy's. I don't really have a reference on how hard this actually is in the grand scheme of FNAF games. Nonetheless, this mode still gave me quite a bit of trouble before beating, so let me tell you what I learned while getting my titties twisted by fucking, what's his name? Jeremy. Can't believe I got killed by a Jeremy. I'm glad you're stuck in that dumbass suit. I would do my best here to explain the exact order of operations when it comes to dealing with these guys, PEMDAS style, and yes, PEMDAS. If I catch you using that other one, I'm gut punching you. But no, this clearly isn't a max mode that was tightly crafted to be RNG free. All the knowledge I could give you would be subject to the deviations each run has. I won't leave you out to dry, however, as I was able to pick up some key patterns that are usually consistent, and I devised a method based on them. I call it Nipple Timer. You see, Nipple is always the first animatronic to activate, and is your cue that the night has started. Nipple attacks 5 seconds into the night, which is just our luck, because 5 seconds is exactly how long it takes to complete one of the tasks on the 4th monitor. Dealing with Nipple on time gives you enough time to complete a second task, because at the 10-second point, everyone else decides to dogpile your ass at once. Dealing with them then gives you the opportunity to shut off your 3rd transmission. After that, the science begins to fall apart at that point, but the Nipple timing is still valuable. He's always the first to attack, usually twice in a row before the others come, or he's the final one after dealing with a desynced group of characters, making the best time to deal with a task be when Nipple is on screen, as his kill timer is very generous. Regardless, you'll still want to check down both hallways before doing so. Mouseski and Prototype have similar levels of aggression, but with much less forgiving kill timers, especially Mouseski. Always prioritize him, as he will sneak up on you if you're sleeping on him. Prototype too, to a lesser extent, as it usually shows up with the monitor animatronics. Speaking of them, they also have much more forgiving kill timers, and show up together, or at least one after the other. Tweaker is the most aggressive animatronic, after Nipple and Mouseski, and he's a mega hater, as he loves to show up to block the character you were just about to deal with, which is great! Especially when he blocks Paper, killing you without giving you the chance to stop him. This is the most RNG element of the night, and caused most of my deaths, and frustrations. Leave it to the Tweaker to enable another's worst impulses. Forget disowning you. If you were my kid, I would chain you to a radiate. As for Paper himself, despite his increased aggression, he's mainly a distraction at worst, at least when Tweaker isn't blocking him. Sometimes he can just be stuck under a camera that's already blocked. My bad, guys. I forgot to give him his Vivance. Suit, however, is definitely the least aggressive. He always attacks with the others, mainly with Prototype, so just add him to the proverbial dust pile of monitor animatronics that you deal with in one sweep. The only way he's gonna get you is with his sheer forgettability. Dealing with these 6 animatronics should get you into a rhythm, but it can't be that simple, as Roger is the thing that breaks said rhythm, and also throws a wrench in the whole Nipple Timer thing. You gotta incorporate him into your downtime to minimize his disruptions. This will cut into your task completions, but this is a necessary measure, sadly. You could work with him while dealing with the monitor animatronics, if the hallway guys are dealt with. You know, if you're daring today. Ultimate Revenge is like any other FNAF-style max mode, where it's a lot of banging your head against the wall as you figure out the method of going about it. It took me a few days of attempts to slowly piece together the rhythm of the night and come up with the Nipple Timer, so it should take you less than that if you follow my strategy. Shout out to Nipple for letting me use him as a barometer. What can I say? I'm just good with nipple technique. We get a classic 8-bit style cutscene, confirming what we already know. We're William Afton, and we were using the ugly suit throughout the game to attack the main character throughout their journey. His jumping streak continues, however, as we cut the power and make our way to the intruder, who was us before, you know. This time, instead of a gut punch, he just grabs us by the head and drags us out with him, leading to the getaway ending. Good thing the suit calmed down enough to let him climb into it, I guess. I don't know what caused it, but lucky him. Bummer ending to end things off on, though, considering he gets away with his crimes, and doubly considering you're getting manhandled by such a swagless, ugly suit, and triply so considering our reward for beating the night. You see, when you beat the custom night challenges, the office gets filled with plushies and figurines of the characters, and what do you get for beating the max mode? A fucking max doll. Oh, I get it. Still, I don't want to be rewarded with his dumbass. He wasn't even in this mode. Ah, what a limp note to end things on. And yeah, we're ending it on this. I don't have it in me to make a long-winded closing statement like last time. So, good game. First half was filler at best. Night 4 should have been the base game. Night 5 makes you want to skin infant babies. Custom Night was good, and the story mode was nonsensical without supplementary explanations that I choose to gatekeep, by the way, and that I'm a father of 2. I think that's sufficient enough. So, you guys like Beast Wars?
Pussy.